Dexter Morgan lived a double life, hiding his darkest secret from everyone he knew, his friends, family, and colleagues. Over 8 thrilling seasons of Dexter, 6 people came dangerously close to discovering the shocking truth.
Sweet, like you asked me to do, and Travis was here. He came at me with his sword. I fought him off.
Dexter was a serial killer. This list focuses on those who almost figured it out, not the ones who realized it only when they were already strapped to Dexter's kill table. The first person to know Dexter's secret was Harry Morgan, his adoptive father. Harry, an experienced Miami homicide detective, was the first to notice young Dexter's disturbing behavior after catching him killing animals. Recognizing the classic signs of a future serial killer, Harry made a controversial decision. Instead of turning Dexter in or seeking psychological help, he created a chilling plan: the Code of Harry. This code gave Dexter a way to channel his violent urges by targeting criminals who had escaped justice. It kept him out of prison, or worse, and gave his actions a twisted sense of purpose. When Dexter was 20, Harry tested him by encouraging him to kill Mary, a nurse suspected of murdering her patients. Dexter went through with it, and a killer was born. But Harry's plan had unintended consequences. When Harry saw Dexter dismembering a victim in a gruesome scene, he realized the full horror of what he had created. The guilt became too much for Harry, and 3 days later, he took his own life. Despite this tragic ending, Harry's code became Dexter's moral compass, shaping him into one of Miami's most infamous yet undetected killers. Detective James Dokes was the first person to truly suspect that something was off about Dexter Morgan. As a seasoned Miami Metro cop with razor-sharp instincts, Dokes immediately sensed that Dexter's calm, collected demeanor at crime scenes wasn't natural. While others admired Dexter's forensic expertise, Dokes remained skeptical, often calling him out with his trademark bluntness. "There's something about you, Morgan. I don't trust it," he once said, laying the foundation for a cat-and-mouse game that would eventually lead him dangerously close to the truth. What set Dokes apart was his refusal to ignore his gut feeling. While Dexter carefully maintained his facade of a mild-mannered blood-spatter analyst, Dokes wasn't buying it. He noticed Dexter's eerie composure when faced with gruesome crime scenes, situations that unsettled even the most hardened detectives. These observations only fueled Dokes' determination to uncover what Dexter was hiding. His suspicions turned into action when he began following Dexter. This relentless pursuit led to a critical breakthrough. Dokes discovered Dexter's hidden box of blood slides in his apartment, a grim collection that documented Dexter's kills. For Dokes, this wasn't just a smoking gun. It was irrefutable evidence linking Dexter to countless murders. The discovery solidified what Dokes had always suspected. Dexter wasn't just strange, he was a killer. And not just any killer, but the infamous Bay Harbor Butcher.
Fuck, Dexter, I don't know if this was the right thing to do.
The climax of Dokes' investigation came in the Everglades, where he caught Dexter in the act of disposing of a body. The confrontation was explosive, with Dokes finally putting the pieces together. "Jesus Christ, Morgan. You're the Bay Harbor Butcher," he said, his voice a mix of shock and fury. But instead of turning Dokes over to the authorities, Dexter imprisoned him in a remote cabin, struggling with the moral dilemma of whether to kill him. Before Dexter could make a decision, fate intervened in the form of Lila West, Dexter's unstable ex-lover. Believing she was protecting Dexter, Lila set the cabin ablaze, killing Dokes in the explosion. While Dokes' death ensured Dexter's secret remained safe, it also left Dexter with the weight of framing an innocent man, a stark reminder of how close he had come to losing everything.
Dexter Morgan, you have the right to remain silent.
Maria LaGuerta, the ambitious and sharp-witted lieutenant of Miami Metro, came closer than anyone else to unmasking Dexter Morgan as the Bay Harbor Butcher. Known for her tenacity and political savvy, LaGuerta wasn't one to let sleeping dogs lie, especially when her instincts told her something didn't add up. Her pursuit of the truth began quietly, but the pieces she uncovered would eventually lead her straight into Dexter's web. It all started with a single, overlooked clue. At the scene of Travis Marshall's death, LaGuerta found a bloodslide, eerily similar to the ones recovered during the Bay Harbor Butcher case, which had been closed with James Dokes as the presumed killer. While most dismissed it as irrelevant, LaGuerta couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Why would this small, insignificant item resurface years after the case was supposedly solved? And more importantly, why was it here? Driven by curiosity and a growing suspicion, Lagerta quietly reopened the Bay Harbor butcher investigation, this time with a new perspective. She began meticulously reviewing old case files, cross-referencing evidence, and, most damningly, looking into Dexter himself. Her probing led her to a chilling possibility. Had they been wrong about Dokes all along? Could the real butcher still be out there, hiding in plain sight? The moment of truth came when LaGuerta set a trap, using Hector Estrada, the very man who had killed Dexter's mother, as bait. She suspected Dexter would take the opportunity for revenge, and she was right.
Captain,
Dexter?
what are you doing here?
Lagerta's gamble paid off when she caught Dexter red-handed, standing over Estrada in a compromising position. "It's you," she whispered, her voice trembling with the realization of what she had uncovered. But before Lagerta could bring Dexter to justice, events spiraled out of control. In a shocking twist, Dexter Morgan arrived on the scene, and the loyalty she felt toward her brother led her to make a devastating choice, pulling the trigger on Lagerta to protect Dexter's secret. Lagerta's relentless pursuit ended in tragedy, leaving viewers breathless and Dexter's secret intact. Barely. The third person on this list is Special Agent Frank Lundy, a veteran FBI investigator whose sharp instincts and methodical approach brought him perilously close to unmasking Dexter Morgan as the Bay Harbor butcher. Tasked with leading the investigation into the elusive killer, Lundy brought an air of quiet intensity to Miami Metro. Unlike others, Lundy didn't rely on hunches. He relied on evidence, patterns, and an almost supernatural ability to profile killers. From the moment he arrived, Dexter knew Lundy would be a problem. Lundy wasted no time setting his sights on the Bay Harbor butcher's methods. His analysis quickly identified a disturbing precision in the murders, each kill clean, efficient, and purposeful. What struck him most was the familiarity the killer had with law enforcement, a trait that narrowed the field significantly. "This isn't chaos," Lundy noted during a briefing. "This is order disguised as chaos." Unbeknownst to him, the man responsible was sitting silently in the room, his usual calm veneer masking the growing tension beneath. As Lundy's profile of the killer grew, so did the pressure on Dexter. Lundy's relentless focus on the case led him to scrutinize everyone at Miami Metro, asking pointed questions and observing behaviors with an unnerving intensity. While most of his colleagues dismissed Lundy as thorough but detached, Dexter could feel the walls closing in. Each piece of evidence Lundy uncovered felt like a brick in a wall Dexter couldn't escape. What made Lundy so dangerous was his refusal to settle for easy answers. While others were content to close the case with Dokes as the primary suspect, Lundy remained skeptical.
You had a moment of temporary insanity.
We can fix this.
We'll get you the best fucking lawyer in the city.
Even if I'm lucky enough to get off due to temporary insanity, they'll still put me in some psych ward. I'll lose my job, my career. And probably even Harrison. We make it look like a suicide. Frustrated that the world didn't end like he predicted, Travis committed ritual suicide at the church altar.
The supposed resolution of the case didn't quite sit right with him, and Dexter could feel the agent's lingering curiosity, like a shadow he couldn't shake. But Lundy's pursuit came to an unexpected end. With Dokes dead and the case officially closed, Lundy had no choice but to move on. Yet his near discovery haunted Dexter, a reminder that even the smallest misstep could have brought the truth to light. Lundy's quiet departure left a lingering question. If given more time, would he have solved the puzzle?
You do a lot of night boating, Mr. Morgan?
Sometimes it's more peaceful.
And you were by yourself?
Yes, I was alone. There are security cameras at the marina. You can see me leaving and returning.
We've seen the footage, Mr. Morgan. The problem is, according to the coroner's report, your wife was killed several hours before you got on the boat.
Is that what this is about? Are you
fucking serious?
Suggesting I have anything to do with my wife's death?
Detective Joey Quinn, a Miami Metro cop whose persistent suspicions about Dexter Morgan almost cracked open his carefully constructed cover. Quinn wasn't like James Dokes or Frank Lundy. He wasn't overtly antagonistic or obsessively methodical. Instead, his approach was subtler, more personal, and ultimately just as dangerous. For Dexter, Quinn was a threat he couldn't dismiss, even if his suspicions seemed unorganized at times. Quinn's suspicions first surfaced during his relationship with Dexter Morgan. As he grew closer to her, He naturally found himself more involved in Dexter's personal life, and something about Dexter didn't sit right with him. Unlike Deb, who idolized her brother, Quinn saw through Dexter's polite demeanor. There was something too perfect, too controlled about the blood spatter analyst, and Quinn's instincts as a seasoned detective wouldn't let him ignore it. What really piqued Quinn's interest was Dexter's uncanny ability to be connected to cases in ways that seemed too coincidental. Time and again, Dexter was at the center of chaos. Yet he emerged untouched. His reputation even strengthened. While others chalked it up to skill or luck, Quinn couldn't shake the feeling that something darker was at play. Quinn's growing suspicion led him to dig deeper.
Somebody else into the next
Jesus,
world?
chill out, Quinn.
No, Deb, he's right.
Even enlisting the help of a private investigator to tail Dexter. This was a risky move, one that brought Quinn dangerously close to the truth. The investigator uncovered Dexter's strange habits, including his late-night outings and frequent trips to secluded locations. But Dexter's quick thinking ensured nothing incriminating was ever found. Quinn came close enough to feel the heat, but never managed to uncover the fire. What ultimately derailed Quinn's pursuit was his personal life. His relationship with Deb and the fallout from his investigation into Dexter created enough distractions to shift his focus. Still, Quinn's instincts were right all along. His failure to expose Dexter wasn't due to a lack of effort, but rather Dexter's unparalleled ability to cover his tracks. Quinn remains a haunting reminder of how close Dexter's carefully concealed secret came to unraveling. My personal opinion is that, despite all the terrible things Dexter has done, I still find myself anxiously hoping he doesn't get caught. Does that make me a psychopath? Or do others feel the same way? Let us know in the comments. That's why I like Angel Batista, because he thought the same about Dexter as I did. While others saw Dexter as strange or detached, Batista saw a loyal colleague and a brilliant forensic expert.
And there,
She loses a cell phone.
she struggles with the coffee. Hey!
Why don't you give my sister a little space?
I can't help it. She has an outrageous ass.
That's enough.
I want to have a relation.
Their friendship was one of the few genuine connections in Dexter's life, built on mutual respect and trust. But that closeness also placed Batista dangerously near the truth, even though he never fully realized it. From the start, Batista admired Dexter's skill and insight, often seeking his input on tough cases. Unlike others who doubted Dexter's humanity, Batista believed in his goodness.
Striker! We need you locked down tonight, huh? We're playing the Alley Cats.
For Dexter, Angel was more than just a co-worker. He was one of the few people Dexter genuinely cared about. Their bond felt real, and that made the stakes higher whenever Batista unknowingly wandered into dangerous territory. One of the most significant moments came during the Bay Harbor Butcher investigation, where Batista worked alongside Special Agent Frank Lundy.
Quiet, remote, use an upgrade in the lighting.
The precision and methodology of the killer mirrored Dexter's own skills so closely that it created subtle tension. Batista's involvement placed him in a precarious position, close enough to the truth that Dexter had to be vigilant. But Batista's unwavering trust in Dexter blinded him to the possibility that his friend could be the monster they were hunting. The tension resurfaced when Maria LaGuerta reopened the Bay Harbor Butcher case. Batista supported her efforts but never let go of his belief in Dexter's innocence. Even as LaGuerta's suspicions narrowed, Batista couldn't bring himself to see Dexter as anything but a trusted friend. His loyalty to Dexter added complexity to his character, and made his relationship with Dexter one of the most compelling dynamics in the show. Angel Batista's faith in Dexter, despite the mounting evidence, highlights how powerful their bond was.
Every one of us, there is a powerful sense of more.
For Dexter, Batista represented one of the few honest, caring relationships in his life, making it all the more heartbreaking that it was built on deception. The closest calls came from Detective James Dokes and Maria LaGuerta, who both investigated and found strong evidence that Dexter was the Bay Harbor Butcher. Their near discoveries created some of the tensest and most exciting moments in the series, showing how hard Dexter had to work to keep his secret safe.
Thanks. It's nice.
On the other hand, Dexter's wife, Rita Morgan, had no idea about his dark side. Despite his strange behavior, late nights, and calmness in stressful moments, Rita never questioned him. She believed Dexter was a loving husband and father, someone she could trust. The fact that she stayed unaware of the truth made her ignorance both sad and shockingly believable, given how carefully Dexter hid his real life. Rita Morgan was Dexter's sanctuary, a symbol of the normal life he desperately tried to maintain. Yet, despite sharing a home and a life with one of Miami's most prolific killers, she never uncovered his dark secret. How could someone so close remain so completely in the dark? The answer lies in a combination of Dexter's calculated deception and Rita's own past.
Nothing better on a muggy Miami morning than a iced coffee, right?
Dexter crafted a near-perfect facade for Rita, presenting himself as a loving, mild-mannered husband and father. He played the role of a doting partner so convincingly that Rita never thought to question the occasional gaps in his schedule or his seemingly endless nights at work. Whenever she had doubts, Dexter was ready with an excuse, calm, composed, and always believable.
It's over, Dexter.
I can't forget that.
I don't expect you to.
His ability to compartmentalize his double life was masterful, and Rita trusted him because he gave her no reason not to. But Rita's inability to see the truth wasn't just about Dexter's careful lies. Her own traumatic history with abuse and addiction shaped her perspective. After escaping an abusive marriage, Rita craved stability and safety above all else. Dexter provided that, or at least appeared to. In him, she found a partner who was supportive, gentle, and steady. Everything her first husband wasn't. Her desire for a normal life blinded her to the cracks in Dexter's story. Even when Dexter's behavior occasionally seemed odd, his late-night disappearances, his tendency to withdraw emotionally, Rita often explained it away. She attributed it to his difficult childhood or his demanding job at Miami Metro. To her, these quirks were small prices to pay for the sense of security and family he provided. Ultimately, Dexter's manipulation of Rita was one of his greatest deceptions. He created a world where she felt safe and loved, all while hiding the monster inside. Rita's tragic fate at the hands of the Trinity Killer highlighted just how devastating that illusion was. She never knew who Dexter really was, and that ignorance made her loss even more heartbreaking. Dexter's life was a constant balancing act, managing his dark urges while appearing to lead a normal life. The closer people got to uncovering his secret, the higher the stakes became, leading to devastating consequences. LaGuerta's trap marked a pivotal moment, where Dexter's internal conflict between his code and his survival instinct reached its peak, showing how far he would go to protect his truth. Yet each close call pushed him further into moral darkness, leaving us to wonder, can someone truly escape the weight of their sins, or does the darkness eventually consume them entirely? Until next time.